So here's a fun one. In 2020, I made the conscious decision to get off of Apple products completely. I got an Android phone. I mean, this is back in 2017. I got an Android phone, but I was running a Hackintosh for a while because I had used Mac computers mainly because I was using Logic Pro. And I was like, dude, I got to get off Mac OS because they're using these Intel processors and I can buy better AMD processors and I can spend half as much money and it's half as much money for the same power, and I can get better power if I want to pay a little bit more. And even the nicest MacBook Pro back then was nothing compared to like a properly built out desktop PC. So I switched to Ableton because it's cross-platform, and I built out a crazy Windows computer and I moved over. And not even a year later, they dropped the M series processors, which are incredible. And I bought an M1 MacBook Air just for my normal day job at the time, which is like tech consulting. And it was one of the best computers I've ever owned in my entire existence. That was just like the base model, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig hard drive or SSD. But I kept my PC, and I kept my PC until now. And so I've been running a 16 core, 32 thread, 7950X AMD overbuilt, like crazy, ridiculous computer with 60 terabytes of storage. And it's been awesome. And I love this computer. But honestly, everything I do now is Mac OS. I program lights with Mac OS. Ableton's cross-platform, I can go back to Mac. And the whole reason I switched off of Mac originally was because really I wasn't getting the performance that I wanted. I was willing to pay more if I could get more performance, or at least good, like high-level performance. But I was not willing to pay more to get half of the performance. And especially since I could spend half as much as what I was spending on the Macs at the time and get the same performance on a halfway decent PC. So now I am about to buy a Mac Studio, an M4 Max Mac Studio, and I'm leaning towards the 16 core CPU, 40 core GPU with 64 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte hard drive. They have Thunderbolt 5 on there, so I can just drop a couple NVMe SSDs in a Thunderbolt 5 enclosure, and it's actually faster than the internal SSD inside those Mac Studios. But has anyone bought one of these yet? Has anyone bought a Mac Studio M4 Max? And do you use Ableton or edit video in DaVinci Resolve? If you do, let me know what your experience is. I'm looking forward to it, and also not necessarily looking forward to the Apple tax, but iMessage and AirDrop and just a bunch of the other features. Honestly, it's going to be nice to have my entire ecosystem back in the same world. And I bought an iPhone again, so look at me.